Hey everybody, this is Erica, the technology nerd who likes to film stuff, and I finally got my hands on a Nexus 6, which took me long enough. But what I want to do right now is express a little bit of concerns I am having as I'm going through my reviewing process. I have not had this device for very long. It's only been a couple of days. And what I'm noticing in just those couple of days is that I am starting to see some burn-in of this display. So what I am seeing is some retention of these little characters along the top, and also I can see this faint line here as well where this status bar is. And just after a couple of days after that, I noticed I am seeing this as well. You can see the square, the circle, and the triangle, as well as this line that we're seeing here. And this is noticeable mostly against a gray image right now, or when I turn down the brightness is when I am noticing it most. So I first noticed it because when I pulled down this notification shade, we do have gray here, and I could see a faint line. So I became suspicious and even more curious, and I went and I put a gray image here, and I could definitely see that there is some burn-in. It's not so bad as to where it's affecting applications right now. So just say if I'm watching Netflix and I have the full image on the screen, I'm not seeing those things just yet, but over time I'm concerned that we're going to be seeing quite a bit of burn-in. And the reason that I am bringing the Moto X second generation into this picture is that I don't want you to just think that, oh yeah, it's only yours is defective, mine doesn't have that problem. Well, actually, the second generation of the Moto X is exhibiting the same type of burn-in as well. And that doesn't surprise me because what I'm noticing is that both of these displays seem to be a similar, not as new version of AMOLED. Yes, we do have a more pixel-dense display on the Nexus 6, but the way that these displays are manufactured, or where they're manufactured, seems to be very, very similar. So I'm seeing burn-in on both of these displays, and the Moto X I have not had for very long. I've only had it for a few months, and I haven't really used it at all. I've only used it to review it, and then I use it to compare to other phones. So this display is showing quite a bit of burn-in already with hardly any use. If you don't know what burn-in is, it is the uneven wearing of these AMOLED displays. So to explain a little bit about this AMOLED technology, AMOLED stands for Active Matrix Organic Light Emitting Diode. So this display emits light by itself. There is no backlight that is shining through polarizers and liquid crystal and filters to show the image. Each pixel, if you will, has 3 subpixels that I would like to call little light bulbs all in themselves, little LEDs all in themselves, and over time they have the ability to wear out. So where you show black, where the pixels are essentially off to show black, and then you have a contrast of white right next to it, you are not wearing the display at the same rate. And when you have a static image like this status bar here and all these little characters, over time these things can wear unevenly and you can get an image retained of what you're seeing here. You can get an image retained of the line where this white part starts on the web browser and also on the bottom, and these little characters here. I'm just surprised that this is happening so quickly with both of these displays. Now, I'm not saying here that AMOLED is the only type of display where you're going to see some type of image retention. You do have LCDs, displays that can show image retention as well. It's just not the same thing as burn-in. So in LCD displays, you have liquid crystal that can get stuck in a certain orientation. And usually, if it's not too bad, you can just take a white image, keep it static, and those crystals can relax to where you don't see that ghosting or image retention anymore. But with AMOLED displays, you can't just do that same thing. You can't just put a white image on the display and expect it to fix itself. To fix something like AMOLED burn-in, or at least to help keep it wearing evenly, I would recommend to invert the colors. This is a setting that you have on here. So instead of the status bar being black, especially underneath the web browser now, you can see that everything is inverted. So now this has a chance to wear more evenly as well as this. So from time to time, you should do this and see if it helps, especially because I am seeing that this is susceptible to burn-in. But I do find this to be a bit unfortunate. Because AMOLED displays are susceptible to burn-in, I would much rather have a Samsung phone with an AMOLED display than one of these Nexuses with these on-screen navigation bars. Because as you can see, Samsung has the gall to keep these buttons here, these capacitive buttons. When you have an AMOLED display, it is a good thing to have these buttons here at the bottom because you're not going to get any type of image retention. You still do have the status bar here, but at least you are minimizing the ability for burn-in. Another thing that I am noticing right now with AMOLED on the Galaxy Note 4 is that it does not seem to be the same generation of AMOLED that it's on either of these two devices. It would make sense that Samsung would keep their own newest version of AMOLED on their own devices and have older versions that are in devices that are not their own. And so far, I'm not having an issue with burn-in just yet on this display. We will see over time. But I think that these versions are more susceptible to burn-in. And just as another side note before ending this video, I did some measurements of both of these displays, and I can see that they're actually calibrated very, very, very similarly. So if you've seen what the calibration of the Moto X second generation is like, it's virtually the same thing that you have on the Nexus 6. So it looks like Motorola had a choice in calibrating both of these. Both of these devices have very high gamma. Both of these devices are also very oversaturated. I'm happy to see that my device here is not as dim as some people have been saying when I did my measurements to see how bright this device can get. It does get brighter than I have been seeing claimed. Another place where I see that Samsung has an upper hand with their AMOLED display is that you have the ability to go underneath settings, underneath display settings. You can choose your screen mode, so you can choose AMOLED Cinema, Photo, or Basic. And if you go underneath Basic mode, you don't have that crazy oversaturation that you have with either of these Motorola devices. So I think that the device I would choose right now that has AMOLED would be hands down the Samsung Galaxy Note 4. A suspicion that I have about the Galaxy Note 4 and the fact that it has a newer AMOLED panel is that I think that it's more power efficient. I noticed that I get a lot better battery life on my Samsung Note 4 than I do on the Nexus 6. So when comparing these two devices, we have Quad HD displays on both of them. This one comes out the battery life winner and overall display winner. So let me know what you think so far. Please check, as I did on this phone, to see if you have any burn-in. And if you do, and you want to keep this phone, invert your colors from time to time. This is a setting you can find underneath accessibility settings, so it should not be something that's too difficult to do. But so far, as I'm reviewing this phone, I'm choosing this as the winner. So this has been Erica, the technology nerd who likes to film stuff. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to continue using this device. I want to get a review out as soon as I possibly can. Please bear with me, but I wanted to show you this to let you know what's going on here, because this can be a deal breaker for some of you. So let me know what you think, and have a good night.